Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here at Social East, and we're at the Marketing News Canada podcast. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, pleasure.
How's the conference going for you so far? How are you enjoying yourself?
It's great. My first time to Halifax.
Okay.
And
Have you been to the boardwalk?
Yes. First thing I did when I got in yesterday.
Of course.
But people have been really engaging. And it's also nice. Like, I'm from Calgary. And so, it's neat to hear what some organizations are doing out here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What is it specifically that you're hearing people are doing that are like making you go, wow, that's really cool?
Well, more just like where folks are coming from, like lots of associations, lots of colleges, lots of like energy companies, food
Right.
companies. Like, it's just always cool to
Yeah.
hear like what people are up to.
Just a good mix. Can you just please, maybe for the people that are listening to us, they don't know who you are.
I mean, it's probably my mom.
Yeah, probably your mom.
Yeah, that's probably.
And maybe my mom too, right? So our mothers
We
are
have
watching.
2 listeners.
So yeah, they know us. But for those of the people that don't know who you are, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Yeah, sure. So my career has spanned kind of between software, agency, and startup for the last 15 years. So I started my career in agency and then moved into software, co-founded a marketing agency, and then really found that I was quite passionate about running software companies. And so I'm currently on my second stint at private equity, where I've been brought in to grow a software company. So
you're working with, or you have a private equity, and then you're working with companies.
I'm employed by a private equity, and I'm
okay.
general manager of one of their software companies. And so I get brought in to increase efficiency, increase revenue, increase team morale, really like take a software company that's been acquired and take it to the next level.
Right. I thought you must love that work.
I love it. I'm like a self-proclaimed growth operator. Like, I come in and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's not working and this isn't working and this can be better. And because I have a diverse background, I've led engineering teams, I've led product teams, I've led marketing teams, I've led sales teams. So I can kind of come in and from like a 10,000 foot view immediately be like, oh, we can do this better.
And seeing how the pieces aren't fitting together in a company.
Totally.
Is it your experience that has given you that insights into how to help companies grow?
I don't know. It's like the first time I did it, I was originally hired as a product manager. And then within 2 months, I took over the leadership of the company and just had some really incredible growth by motivating the team that was working on that product.
And then you just kind of had a knack for it.
Yeah. I think I have an ability to manage cross-functional teams and really increase a company's culture. And then I just am happy to like dig up my sleeves and really dig in. And so the companies I've been involved in have been pretty small, kind of 2 to 3 million USD ARR. And so
That's still not that bad though.
There's a lot of opportunity in that because a lot of them were kind of founder-led, and then they got to a point where they couldn't really scale. And then that's really where I think my skill set comes in.
What is it that stops these companies from scaling? You're saying that they can't scale. Like, what is it that's the bottleneck?
Well, I think a lot of it is just not being able to let go. So, founders trying
it's like
to do
the baby, right?
Yeah. Like a founder, for example, one of them was like a founder that was an engineer who worked with other engineers, got this product up and running, and then actually built like an add-on. And then the add-on really took off, but like he did everything. And so it was really hard for the organization to grow because he was the customer support, he was the account management, he was the marketing. And so he had incredible growth within that. But one person can only go
so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you come in. What is it that you do then to help them?
I mean, I really come in and analyze what's happening in the organization. So, what's happening with their marketing, what initiatives are they running, really dig into the metrics, really dig into the P&L, understand opportunities for refining those processes, and then really understand where the team's morale is at. So, how long have the folks been on the team? What's their engagement been before? And oftentimes it's that people have been siloed into roles and not really brought into like growth targets. And so I try to really get people invested in like, if this organization wins, we all win.
Right.
So that's a big thing that I do as well. So I really get into like all the different aspects of the business and figure out how we can become more efficient. What are we doing for tooling? How are we supporting things? What roles do we have supporting the company? Oftentimes, especially when it's a small startup, it'll be like, people wearing multiple hats.
Right, of course.
It's like, well, we actually need like a dedicated head of customer success, or we actually need like somebody doing account management, and trying to get people to really explore what they want to do with their careers and then give them the space to really own that.
Okay, interesting. You gave a talk today, or you're out here talking about creating authentic communities,
Yeah.
right? So I want to dive into that because I think it's really kind of important. Um, well, let me just ask you this: why is it important for companies to build online communities?
Well, I think that when you have a brand and you're putting energy into your brand's messaging and socials and your website and all the things that we have to do in 2025, if that's a one-way communication, it becomes a chore pretty fast and it also dies pretty fast. Like if you are the only one dictating the conversation and you're just pushing out all the things you want to push out as your brand, it's not going to land with people around like them feeling like they're a part of that story or feeling like they could see themselves as a customer or a stakeholder in that. And so when you build community instead of pushing one-way content, it becomes a conversation and then
Right.
you build lifelong fans. And so it's really about bringing your customers, even your employees, other fans along the way as part of an extension of your brand and really making them feel like co-creators. And that just continues to drive lifelong engagement from those folks.
Right. And I imagine you can learn a lot about your customer by doing that because they're probably more engaged or interested in sharing what it is that they experience when they're using like a product or service.
Totally. And I think that when you recognize that, those people then want to share that with their friends. And, I think about like a perfect example is like, I don't know if you know, like, let's use like Patagonia's return policy or Arc'teryx's return policy. So, like,
Okay.
if you buy a jacket from Arc'teryx, for example,
Okay.
I think they have like a lifelong, like no matter what happens to your jacket, you can send it back. They will repair this zipper like 100 times.
Really?
The
Okay.
number of people I know who own Arc'teryx jackets who have told me about their return, like they're like, well, I sent this in and they, sent me back, the jacket within 3 weeks with a new zipper and I didn't have to get a new jacket. And like, because they're buying that brand because it's sustainable and they really
Mhm.
believe in what they're doing long term. And so they're paying for that premium of like this quality of brand. But then they
Yeah.
become an advocate and then they're
Absolutely.
posting their Arc'teryx jacket on socials. They're posting about it. And then Arc'teryx takes that content and then they go ahead and share that on their socials. And it just becomes
It's like
this,
it
it's like a
snowballs.
snowball. It's exactly that. It's that snowball effect. And it just feels really authentic. And we know that. Like one of the things I talked about in my presentation today is just the impact that having social proof, even on your website where someone's at a decision point, the impact it can have on that conversion. It's like astronomical. Like if
Yeah.
you are about to purchase a product and you see the reviews of it or you see some social posts of it, like you trust that brand a heck of a lot more than you did 5 minutes before, right? Because you see yourself in the, oh, somebody's posting this, it's clearly authentic, then you have more trust in that brand.
Yeah. That's amazing too because I think about some brands they have experience with and it seems like a lot of the times they could be throwaway products or whatever and you buy it and then it like breaks down and you don't think anything of it. There's like no brand loyalty. But if you know you can spend something on something that's premium that you enjoy using and you get great value from it, yeah, you're more willing to share about it and talk about it because that's such a great experience and something that you don't get every day. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine having something break down and 10 years later I take it back to the company and they fix it, no questions asked. It's almost like it's unheard
Absolutely.
of.
Absolutely. And like, I think keep using that Arc'teryx example. Like, for sure, people are like, I want to feel like I'm a person who buys Arc'teryx. Like, for sure, that's the vibe too. It's like you see someone, you're like, oh yeah, like for
Yeah.
sure, you have an Arc'teryx jacket in your closet.
Right, yeah.
That's part of
It's like that
feeling.
identity in a way.
That's that shared identity. So, what I was talking about today about the importance of, going past the socials and not past the socials, using your socials to go past posts and into this real community. I talk about like these 4 C's. Like one of them is curating. So curating those experiences that people are already sharing. Like
Right.
they're already sharing it, and really getting to connect. So connecting with the people who are sharing, which makes them pull into that shared identity.
Yeah.
And then also celebrating. So connecting and then celebrating. And that celebration piece, I think, is the piece that a lot of companies miss. But when you celebrate somebody publicly in their interaction with your brand, like they feel seen.
Yeah,
They feel like an
absolutely.
extension of your brand. And then the last one is, sorry, is calibrating. So really going, if we engage beyond the feed and we engage really in this community. What's the impact to the bottom line? And it's pretty legitimate. Like it's impressive.
Yeah, is that almost like taking kind of data and then figuring out what's going on and seeing it, and then using calibrating, like adjusting and taking that information and trying to see where you can do better or pivot
and
or what have you?
understanding like, you know, where your community is. Like, where do they want to participate with you? Maybe you're finding like it only works on Instagram or it only works on TikTok. And what we're finding is like when we reposted this, like, you know, really emotional story, like that really resonated. Like others wanted to share their, like, you just have to really have your ear to the community because you as an organization have in your brand, you have something you want to say, a message you want to get out, but your community is also telling you something else. And you don't have to have a large volume of followers. You have to look for depth in those connections and then hear what your community is saying, hear what the people who are following you are saying, and then taking that and leaning in, making that person feel like they're they're a co-creator of your brand.
Yeah.
And then that just grows from there.
So what does that look like, you know, on the day-to-day, like in the real world? Like, oh, you're a company, like, okay, I'm going to start building a community. Like, is it software that you use to build a community? Like, how do you go about getting started?
I mean, for sure, there's tools to manage at scale. But to get started, like, it's mostly about time and then finding those connections. So let's, like, make up one example. Let's say you're an insurance company.
Okay.
And you have obviously like not the sexiest, like, you know, it's not like you probably have like a ton of followers on Instagram, like following your insurance company. Maybe there's some out there, and I'm going to be proved wrong. I'm about to be proved wrong.
Put up a list here of all the
exactly.
crazy.
Well, actually, Brooke, but let's say you're a small insurance company, and let's say a customer support person is on a call with somebody, and they're talking about water damage in their basement. And the insurance company gets it fixed, and then the user says, like, you know, they've been maybe talking on their socials about this water damage, then they actually tag the insurance company and go like, thanks to TD Milashmonics or whatever, you know, we've got this water cleaned out. That emotional story, like, that can become such, like, people resonate with that.
Right.
People have water in their basements. It sucks.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden becomes a story that's part of that brand about how they handled it, right? And
it's not just insurance, it's about how we can help you through a difficult time.
Exactly. And that's what people connect about. One of the examples I gave in my talk was, I don't know if you know Strava. It's like this, it's like an app for like tracking your activities.
Okay, it sounds familiar.
But very mediocre runner posted this post about her first marathon she had run.
Okay, yeah.
But she was posting about using this specific feature in Strava that helped her track her splits or something like that. I'm making it up. I can't remember the specific of it. Strava reposted it. And this was an average runner. This was not a celebrity. This was not an influencer. This was just like a average lady running a marathon, which also, like, that's amazing. And Strava reposted. And this post became an absolute celebration of day-to-day normal people being like, oh my gosh, like I did my first marathon, or oh, that's amazing, like you like, and
they
it
all
just
connected
like
around that shared experience,
and like the feed that it created, and it just became this like absolutely beautiful celebration that then Strava took forward to their community, and also this woman took forward to her community, right? That Strava engaged with like her social post. And it lived way more beyond the feed. It became this real delightful celebration.
Did they just literally retweet what she was doing kind of thing?
They reposted it, and then their community just started chiming in. Like it just was like people tagging this woman, and like it was really nice to see. And she probably becomes a Strava advocate for life after that.
No kidding. So like it creates that brand loyalty that I think a lot of people today have been saying kind of the same thing of, you know, it's not just about reaching out to people and just blasting your message. It's about creating these relationships with your people, with your customers, so that you can have some shared connection or shared experience that you guys can take with you and, you know, just move together forward in a way, right? So
totally. I think that, like, for me, like the key takeaway is like, and I ended my presentation on this, like your social feed is not a community, but it is an invitation to one. So you have to have your presence up there. You have to have a space for people to connect with you. And then you need to connect with them. And it can start really small. Like you can literally send handwritten thank you notes to somebody.
Yeah.
It's not going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a bit of time. You got to look for those emotional stories that that interest from people. But you
Yeah.
could start with 5 to 10 customer stories and really go from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I love what you just said there about just having a handwritten note. I know sometimes when I come back from the dentist or whatever, and then I get something in the mail. It's like, hey, nice smile, whatever it is. I don't know whatever.
I'm going
it
to the
is.
wrong dentist.
But yeah. But it's like, they remember me and they took the
Yeah.
time to write something by hand.
Yeah.
Not some AI generated message
Yeah.
that was like you forget about it. So it creates that
It
connection.
has to feel authentic. Like that's the piece of it. It has to feel personal, has to feel authentic. I just think that in 2025, we are not short in terms of volume of content, but we're short on connection.
Yeah.
So many companies are pushing this one-way narrative,
Right.
and we don't have time for that. Like
Yeah.
our socials are full. So like we're really wanting to find the things that are really resonating for us. And I think we're going to see more and more of that.
How can we make sure that what we're doing is authentic? Like when we're posting and we're trying to engage with our community, how do we keep that authentic presence?
Well, I think user-generated content is a big piece of that. Like actually not the brand giving out some of that control in terms of like not just generating their own content, but having their fans become those co-creators, having them feel like they're a part of that brand. Because going back to like the start of the conversation, like if you're feeling like we've got this set calendar of all the things that we need to say and your audience is saying something else, like you're missing the mark.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're going to feel pretty unheard. And also they're probably not going to engage with you if you're just like, anyway, like here's what we're going to get
Right.
out. But just letting go a little bit of that control to go like, let's see what our community's saying. And then, obviously things happen, in the news and there's lots of things that are impacting people's experience with your brand that's out of your control, but you can lean into that in a really authentic way by recognizing their content, by, meeting them where they're at in terms of what their experience is with your brand.
Yeah. I think you've already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again anyways.
I'll try to answer it even better then.
It's a really important thing. For marketers that are listening to this, if you can just say what's the most important thing that they need to consider when they're trying to build a community, what would you tell them to think about?
I think it's really, having their ears and eyes open to see what people are saying and to lean into that, to not feel like they have to dictate the conversation on social, but instead to really invite the conversations, to ask people to share their stories. And then when they find those, really lean into them and recognize them, because at the start, especially for small brands, like I said, it's not a big lift for you to send 1 or 2 thank you notes. But
Right.
that thank you note, if somebody posts something, that could turn into a case study.
Yeah.
That could turn into a testimonial on your website. That could turn into a lifelong customer who's going to talk about you to their friends and family.
Yeah.
You can really take a small moment in marketing and turn it into a real community asset.
Yeah, I love that. That's genius. I'm going to incorporate some of this stuff in the things that I'm doing.
Great. Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
No pressure.
I do have one final question here to ask you, and that's about, like, in general, in the whole marketing space, is there anything that you can say that people aren't really talking about? Is there something that needs to be amped up a little bit in terms of what's going on in the marketing space?
I think that the thing that I would say in the marketing space, and I heard a little bit of it today, is like really trying to figure out how to connect with a demographic that's not as keen to be on socials.
That's not as what, sorry?
Not as keen to be on socials.
Okay. Oh, right.
So like a lot of organizations have a different demographic, and then a lot of people just are inundated with volume. So how to like get through that noise, but also how to get to your like ideal customer persona to make sure that, your brand really resonates. And I think that right now there's so much around volume and like, keeping up with the competitors, but like, is what you're saying really mattering to the people you're actually targeting? And I think that comes down to having really a true sense of who your ideal customer persona is and not trying to be everything for everybody.
Yeah. Have you noticed in the startup world, that, like, is that a big problem where people build a product but don't really understand who they're building it for? They don't understand their ideal customer profile?
for sure. And also, I think it's really easy to get distracted. Ooh, shiny new. Oh, look at this group could use us. And you have to sit in the discomfort of like, it takes time to like really see where you get traction. And depending on the model of financing, like that can be really hard. And so I think that there's a piece in the startup space that's like you kind of have to be something for everybody at the start just to see where you get traction. But then you have to be open to considering like where that takes you.
Yeah.
And then, maybe going, hey, we got to just lean into this vertical. Like maybe we aren't everything for everyone. And you can still sell to everyone. But then how do you curate your socials around that vertical, or how do you talk about your successes in that space? And some of that just takes time.
Yeah.
And then some of it you have to be intentional about as well.
Yeah. Because I just feel like once you know your customer and you know who your market is, it really helps you tailor that message to make sure that's going to resonate with them.
Yeah, and that can be scary too, right? Because it can feel like, you're kind of overcommitting in one space, but you kind of have to do that and test it.
Yeah.
And people will still come who are outside of that, but that'll just continue, like you were saying, to help you hone your message for them and ensure that it resonates.
Yep. Brooke, I want to leave you with the last word here today. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or mention that we haven't talked about and we haven't touched on today?
I don't think so. That's just been a ton of fun chatting with you, and looking forward to the rest of the conference.
Amazing. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Awesome. Thank you.